Today, we're going to break down these two cases that seem so completely different. One car crash and the world mourned. Another car crash and a man walks away with tens of millions of dollars in compensation. So why is it that when comedian Tracy Morgan was nearly killed, he got justice, but when Princess Diana did get killed, her family didn't see a single dime? I'm Angel Reyes, a personal injury lawyer with decades of experience handling high-profile cases just like these. There are no royal families in Texas yet, but today we're going to break down these two cases that seem so completely different and show you how much they really have in common. Now let's rewind. It's 1997 and Princess Diana is in Paris. She's riding as a passenger in a car driven by a Ritz-Carlton employee, a worker from the very hotel she was staying at. That driver was drunk. Paparazzi were chasing them through the streets, and no one in the car was wearing a seatbelt. In 2014, comedian Tracy Morgan was hit by a Walmart truck driver who'd been awake for over 28 hours. Morgan survived, but unfortunately his friend and fellow comedian James McNair didn't. On the surface, two tragic crashes, both caused by impaired drivers that led to a death, but legally completely different outcomes. The French court found Henri Paul, Princess Diana's intoxicated driver, criminally at fault. The royal family, they never filed a single lawsuit. In France, damages for civil suits are tightly capped. This is because, unlike the US, the legal system doesn't offer uncapped, non-economic damages like pain and suffering and emotional distress. There are also differences in perceived commercial liability, but we'll get to that towards the end when we talk about how this would change if it happened in the US. The most you can actually get is provable damage, such as medical bills, lost income, and a very limited amount for emotional distress. Emotional distress is capped at 50,000 euros for a spouse, 30,000 euros for a child, and 15,000 euros for a sibling in France. Whereas in the US, there are actually no nationwide caps. Each state sets their own rules, and many of them do not cap damages for emotional distress. Even if the royal family did decide to file lawsuits due to the caps, they would likely have received less than 100,000 euros total, with legal battles dragging on for years and massive international press attention. But 100,000 euros is not worth the same to a royal family as it would be to the common person. For our US viewers, that's $136,914 over here, which is barely a fraction of what Tracy Morgan received. He filed a lawsuit against Walmart alleging that their driver was fatigued, negligent, and unfit to operate a truck. He'd been awake for more than 28 hours, violating federal trucking rules. And as our longtime viewers know, corporations are responsible for any reckless actions that their employees take. Morgan was left with some brain trauma, broken ribs. He faced more than a year of excruciating recovery. The evidence of corporate negligence was pretty overwhelming. Walmart's first instinct, of course, was to fight back, but ultimately, they ended up settling for a confidential multi-million-dollar sum. And based on my experience dealing with commercial trucking cases, he probably received like 200 times more than Princess Diana's family would have been capped at. What happened to the driver of that Walmart 18-wheeler? Did he face any liability? Or was it really just Walmart's problem? Surely he's partly to blame for choosing to drive for 28 hours straight. The driver, Kevin Roper, was charged with vehicular homicide and with 4 counts of assault by auto for each person in Tracy Morgan's limousine. But after a drawn-out legal process in 2019, 5 years later, all charges were dropped. He completed a pretrial intervention program, which is a common route for first-time offenders to avoid jail time. The main reason Walmart shouldered the majority of the blame was because, as the National Transportation Safety Board concluded, they could have better prevented the crash with proper scheduling, driver oversight, and fatigue management systems. But ultimately, Walmart also has some pretty deep pockets and vicarious liability, which means employers are responsible for their drivers on the job. And if a company is pushing their workers past their human limits, it's their fault. So Tracy Morgan's team always would have sued Walmart over Roper, who wouldn't have had enough assets to likely be worth the legal trouble. What if Diana was in America? Now, what would have happened to Princess Diana's family if the exact same situation had happened to her while visiting in America? Could they have seen similar multi-million-dollar settlements like Tracy Morgan did? 100%. You might be thinking, if Tracy Morgan sued Walmart for their vicarious liability for the driver's actions, why didn't the royal family sue the Ritz-Carlton? It was their driver who was drunk on the job, right? Henri Paul was actually not a hotel driver. He was the deputy head of security at the hotel. meaning he was acting outside his normal duties when he volunteered to drive Diana. And under French civil law, if an employee acts outside their professional duties, the employer isn't automatically liable. Paul was actively working while drunk. The Ritz-Carlton is responsible for negligent supervision for allowing him to still work or failing to recognize that he was working while he was drunk. As the head of security, even though he acted outside his normal duties, they are responsible for his negligent actions taken while he was on the clock. Then we get to Mercedes-Benz, the vehicle manufacturer. If I was her family's lawyer and this happened today, I would seize any and all black box data to determine if the seatbelts were defective. If the black box data proved there was a faulty seatbelt and it was determined that her death could have been prevented if it had been working properly, you could, depending on the jury, see up to $100 million in damages against Mercedes-Benz. Add in a few $1,000,000 in punitive damages that are offered in the US but not in France from the various defendants, and you're seeing the original 100,000 euro in France skyrocket to potentially 100 million here. If you've been injured in a crash through no fault of your own, especially when a commercial vehicle is involved, you need a lawyer to make sure you're not going to be taken advantage of. Often, fast settlement offers are a tactic to underpay you. Give us a call at Angel Reyes Associates, and we will fight to make sure you earn every penny you're entitled to. And if we don't win, you don't pay us. Give us a call or click the link in the description for a free consultation. And if you love this episode, make sure you like and subscribe for more legal tips. As we mentioned, black box data is one of the most valuable pieces of data in a truck crash case, such as Tracy Morgan's. If you'd like to know more about how fast you need to collect that data to make sure you don't lose it forever, check out this video where we talk about the importance of swiftly securing black box data and how to do it.